kind of leads into what I want to ask you, Vince, is obviously you have you've been a recruiter for a little while. You've kind of grown this awesome community that we can see online. We got, I think today or yesterday you posted about you built a community of 60,000 people. A lot of those are probably people that you've engaged with for roles and then placed. And even if you haven't placed them, you've created those relationships. So I want to pick your brain on how you kind of set yourself apart from other recruiters because it's a huge industry. There's a lot of recruiters out there. How do you set yourself apart? How do you stay, kind of top of the game, top of the craft, which we believe you are, even though you're humble.
Hmm.
And then what's kind of your value proposition? What do you bring to the table? Maybe we could, tell our audience, share that with our audience.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think to your point about the network and like, because I do recruit, just to kind of back up a little bit, I do HR, talent acquisition, really kind of corporate roles within those. And if you've been around the space, like you're a recruiter, like you understand right now that, the talent acquisition market is rough, right? Like it feels like 2020, which fingers crossed, it's not as bad as that was. But so, I mean, a lot of the people that are reaching out to me that I'm having conversations with in talent acquisition, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of roles for them. So I think to kind of get to your point of like, how do I stand out? Like, I don't want to just, brush somebody off and be like, I don't have a role for you. Like, I really want to connect with people. I've had a lot of conversations with like higher level people, like, senior TA leaders that are just telling me about their frustrations. And like, I think people right now, like, they just need someone to listen to them. You know what I mean? Like, someone to hear them, hear their frustrations. Like, so I think, I'm taking that extra step of like, I don't know if I can help you specifically, but like offer my network to people. I try to make posts once a week about like highlighting some person that I've spoken with, like here's their experience. If you're hiring, like reach out to them. So I think just taking that extra step and even, I'll even like send follow-up messages with people that I've spoken to, like in the coming weeks, like, hey, how is your search going? Any updates on that? Like I think just taking that extra step of like, I mean, and it can be as quick as like just sending a quick message. Or I'm not saying you have to like call them twice a week, right? Like, I mean, obviously we don't have time to deal with every candidate, but I think just kind of taking that extra step with the people that are out of work right now that are really just struggling, nothing due to their own, nothing that they can control, right? Like it's just a crazy market for that. Then I think for candidates that I'm actively working with, like kind of value proposition to kind of hop into that part.
Mhm.
I think, taking that extra step with like staying in really close contact with people, because I mean, a lot can happen. Agency world, which we'll dive into that, I think the next part. But, you know, to give you guys insight, like I'm working with people that don't understand agency. Like I'm working with clients and different clients for different roles. And there's usually pretty high sense of urgency, right? So a lot can happen
Mhm.
for, if an agency recruiter, 3 days is a long time, right? If I don't talk to a candidate for 3 days, they could have another offer. So I think just really staying in close touch, where you at with other companies, like offering interview prep. Like funny story, I actually had a candidate like 2 weeks ago that I did an interview prep with for like a higher level role. And she was like, I've never had a recruiter offer me a prep call before. And I just thought that was crazy. I was like, I feel like you should be offering that if you're an agency recruiter to kind of give them like some
Yeah.
insight, some confidence, some boost. Like it could be a quick 5 minute call just to make sure they're good to go. But I
Yeah.
think really just staying in close touch with that candidate, offering help if you can, making sure they're good to go, and just staying in close touch is probably the biggest thing for me that I would say.